All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our virtual open house 2021. Thank you so much for joining us. I see that you are starting to trickle in. We will be recording this presentation just so we can have it available for people who maybe couldn't make it in today. My name is Lang. I'm a student recruitment advisor with Concordia University of Edmonton, and I'm joined today by Dr. Conrad Van Dyke, Dean of our Faculty of Arts, as well as Kennedy, one of our student ambassadors and a student in the Faculty of Arts. So we'll be starting off with Conrad giving us Dr. Van Dyke giving us an overview of the Faculty of Arts. We'll have some time for questions at the end, as well as maybe some insight from a current Faculty of Arts student. There is faculty-specific presentations going on as well. So if you do have a very particular faculty that you want to know more about, you can check those out as well. With that, I will hand things over to Dr. Van Dyke.
Thank you so much. I hope everybody can hear me, and if there are any problems, just let me know. I'm going to share my screen here and do a quick presentation. So give me one moment here. All right, so hopefully you can see this. If there's a problem, let me know. I'm going to speak for about 10-15 minutes and just talk about the value of arts, what to expect from an arts degree, and then we'll open up for questions and also a chance to talk to Kennedy. So my name is Conrad Van Dyke. I'm the Interim Dean of Arts. I'm also a Professor of English, which I do normally, but for this year I'm filling in as the Dean of Arts. So when we think about arts, we have 5 departments, and within those departments, we also have more specific programs. So if you look, for instance, at language and literature, that is both English, but also French and Spanish and many other different languages. If we break this down, you can see that we have all these different programs, and there's a huge wealth and variety in terms of our offerings. So if you're not quite sure what a particular department offers, then check them out and really kind of dig down a little bit deeper to see what's actually there. Because the term social sciences, for instance, might not mean much to you at the outset, but when you look more closely, you start to see what's all included. Now, in terms of the value of the arts, we have specific learning outcomes. And there's a lot of text on this slide, so I won't go through all of it. But when we think about what the arts are about, we tend to separate things into kind of general skills in terms of understanding life and appreciating who we are, and then more specific skills as well, such as communicating clearly, being able to research and do complex analysis. So when we bring these types of skills together, we try to be complete human beings, right? That's what the arts are about, to understand the world, to change it, to make it better, and to make a difference. So when you take a particular arts degree, you're learning practical skills, but you're also learning these larger skills in terms of how we live and how we understand the past. And you can find all these learning outcomes online, so I won't go through them too closely here. Now, as I was saying, we can separate the skills into these different categories. Specific skills that you learn in arts might be things like speaking French or playing clarinet, right? Or learning how to become a social worker or how to do clinical psychology. But we also have transferable skills, which are skills that are a bit more general. And these are things like interpreting complex text, communicating. These are skills that you can take to almost any job. And we often see that with arts graduates, that they go in a little bit confused. You know, what do I want to be? What do I want to become? They don't always know exactly what jobs are at the end of it, but that's okay because they gain these transferable skills, which any CEO of a company would love to have for their organization, right? So we have specific skills, transferable skills, and then, as I mentioned before, we also have this general sense of wisdom. We want to understand who we are. We want this psychological and philosophical insight. So the different disciplines work together in a sense to provide you with this holistic education. That's also why we encourage our students not just to study in one area, but to branch out. You want a major, you want a minor, and then you have many electives, right? Courses you can choose freely. that will give you more breadth and allow you to make sense of the world. So if we think of one particular program, English, which happens to be my area of specialization, we can see these specific jobs that are at the end of it, such as journalist or lawyer, author, publicist. There are many jobs that are directly connected to an English degree. But of course, there are also many jobs that are loosely connected and that maybe have no prerequisites in terms of the education you need to do. And sometimes people go and they do follow-up degrees, such as legal training, right? There's some famous lawyers with English degrees. So when we think about a degree in arts, there are these practical outcomes, but then there's also some ambiguity in terms of, well, I've got these transferable skills, now what can I do with them? Do I need to do a follow-up degree and study more? Or can I enter the workforce directly? And there's a lot of range in terms of what our students end up doing. So if we take one example, one of our alumni is Sarah Pratt, who studied English, and she's now a communication strategist at the University of Alberta. So she's using her talents at writing, analysis, communication, and she has a good job as a result of this. You can take the same kind of position and transplant it and move it over into the civil service, or the government, the public sector. There are many places where you need people with this kind of skill set. And so often when you start your degree, you might have questions, but I would encourage people to do what they're passionate about, follow their instincts in that sense, and then the job will line itself up as you kind of figure things out in your later years. Now, I also want you to dream a little bit here in terms of what else you could do. So there are very famous people with an English degree, which is our example here, and they had to start somewhere too, right? And they used that degree in a really creative and interesting way to make an impact in the world. So think big, study with passion, and you'll find your road in life in terms of where you want to be. Now, I want to come back to this notion of the value of an English degree in relation to self-knowledge and understanding the world. I think this is very important, and it's not always treasured by people when they enter into arts. So a lot of people, they see a degree kind of like a tool, right? Like a spade that you can dig with, and it's very practical and effective. But I would encourage you to also think more broadly in terms of what the liberal study of the arts is truly about. And so Seneca, for instance, the Roman writer, he wrote, "But there is only one really liberal study, that which gives a man his liberty. It is the study of wisdom, and that is lofty, brave, and great-souled. All other studies are puny and puerile." And puerile means kind of childish. Now, philosophers often do this, right? They denigrate the other arts. Philosophy is the greatest. You don't need anything else. So there's something a little bit comical about this. But at the same time, there's a lot of truth here as well. If we don't take the time to think big and to study, to think about liberty and these big ideas, then what's the value of education? Or the value of education becomes very narrow. As an aside, Seneca has some funny things to say about some of the sciences. So we'll take a little dig here at math. Seneca says, "The mathematician teaches me how to lay out the dimension of my estates," right? How much property do I have? "But I should rather be taught how to lay out what is enough for a man to own." So that's quite a dig here from Seneca. I don't think we always have to be so competitive, but that seems to be part of this literature of talking about which is the greatest art, right? Which is the greatest discipline. More broadly, here's a quotation from the dramatist Bertolt Brecht, a major 20th century figure. He writes, "All art forms are in the service of the greatest of all arts, the art of living." And I think that's a beautiful quotation. It really gives us this sense of learning with passion, not just to get a grade or to go through, but to really understand who we are and to live a life that has meaning and is worth living. Okay. So I'll finish here with a few things that are new in arts, some upcoming things as well, and then we'll open things up for questions. So we have a new doctoral program. This is our first doctoral program ever, which is in clinical psychology. It's very exciting to offer this. We have 10 students entering this new doctoral program this year. It's off to the running, off to the races. I'm not sure what the expression is, but we're very excited about this. And what's fantastic is that our undergraduate students can now also see a direct line into graduate studies, and they can kind of start to work with graduate students and have that wonderful, rich experience. We also have a new minor in Indigenous Studies, which is very exciting. And this is part of our strategy to decolonize the university and to really encourage interaction with Indigenous peoples and better understanding and reconciliation. And then finally, we have a 4-year degree in philosophy that we are working on. So right now you can do a 3-year concentration, but we're hoping to extend that in the next couple of years to a 4-year degree. So those are just a few things that we're working on. And I hope that you're excited about arts. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So I'll stop sharing at this point. Okay, I've tried to race through this quickly so that we have time for questions and interaction. All right, so at this point, our host, do you want to take over for a bit?
Yeah, I think I will ask that Kennedy unmute and put her video on and just kind of give you guys a little bit about her experience as a student in the Faculty of Arts.
Hello. It's so nice to actually have this opportunity to come and speak to everyone today. Last year, I was in the same position, going on to online virtual meets to meet my hopefully new professors and faculties. Through my experience with Faculty of Arts, I am a major in psychology and minor in sociology. I'm doing a 4-year degree right now. I'm hoping to go into our applied emphasis program. If you choose to pursue so, you would do it at the end of your 2nd year. I really like the Faculty of Arts just because it is the most welcoming faculty in all of our schooling. I have gotten the chance to meet an amazing drama professor. His name is Mr. Vern Thiessen. He is my Drama 101 professor. I really hope you guys get a chance to actually meet him. He's given me a lot of ins with the drama department. He emailed some of them for me, and now I'm going to be a part of the production we're hopefully doing in November, if any of you are wanting to come see it. I also am a part of a bunch of our clubs and programs. I'm actually the vice president of our Model UN club right now. If you guys ever, even just off of Google Meets, the best way to get included with all of our clubs, the majors, the minors, the faculties, if you go onto Instagram, Facebook, any social media platform, every major and minor, every club, they all have a social media account. If you want to see the psych one, there's also an arts, the Q Wellness program, and you get to see all of the merchandise they put out for that year, and you get to meet a bunch of people before you even enter your classroom. So you have people to sit and talk to and study with.
I think I'll just put forward one final question because we are getting pretty close to the end of our time here. And I'll put towards Kennedy. Kennedy, what would you say your favorite part about being a student at Concordia is?
Honestly, my favorite part is definitely the clubs. I'm a person who very much likes to stay active and be a part of the community in any way possible. There's so many volunteer opportunities, not even just with clubs, but with like the library and the merch store that we have that also sells school supplies and textbooks, and just the online community, honestly. I know that we all like our computers a lot after class. It's a nice release. And if you guys have Discord, there's also a Discord channel for Concordia students where we can all meet and talk together. So I hope to see you guys on that next year.
I think we will call it there. Thank you so much, Dr. Van Dyke, and to Kennedy for joining us today, and to all our attendees for listening in. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of our open house. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.